So hello everyone. As I said, my name is Hristina Crenn. I am from Macedonia originally, so I'm happy to be part of this large crowd of people at Fatima Al-Fihri Open University. Especially, I am glad to be a member in the Council of Directors as a director of the Scientific Community Office. And today I am having the privilege to deliver you some aspects of education diplomacy and leadership as a notion. More people are joining us. We are now 16 people. I'm going to basically share my screen now. Well, I would like to mention that leadership is maybe a notion that you hear it every single day, maybe 100 times per day, and you may know all the terms and aspects about the general notion of leadership. But in my opinion, what really counts for leadership is your personal experience as a leader. That's why I'm going to share some aspects about basically in terms of the ambassadors program that you are part of at Fatima Al-Fihri Open University. How can you, for instance, prepare your program and present it in your local community? How education can be a tool or a mechanism for everyone, not just for someone, for instance. Before we start officially with the leadership training, I would like to invite Salma Sadawi to share some ideas about the FAO's ambassadorships program. Salma, are you with us? Salma?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. What I want to share first with the officer today.
We can't really hear you for the moment or for the time being. So therefore, maybe we can try later. We can't hear you, Salma, very well now.
Is
All right. Maybe we can try later. Salma, I'll invite you once again to talk. Meanwhile, you can maybe try to make your internet connection stable. All right.
school and in France.
Uh,
Okay, I have a problem.
yes.
Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you. I'll invite you later during the talk to basically to present your ideas about FAO ambassadorship program. Meanwhile, you can try to solve your internet connection problem. All right. So basically, leadership as a concept, as a notion, represents the trajectory of international education. We all traveled somewhere in the scope of our life journey, and basically, I can say that the more you travel, the more you learn about leadership. Why I say this? Because there is not a general rule about being a good leader. It all relies on your own experience. Self-reliance is probably one of the most important points regarding a leadership evolution and transition as a student. Today, I would like to talk about ambassadorship. So, many of you, or some among you, are part of the FAO ambassadorships program. And why did I connect ambassadorships as a leadership in terms of education diplomacy? Because most of you, while you are going to present the work of FAO in your local communities, or you're going to share the ideas about Fatima Al-Fihri Open University, you are becoming basically a nucleus, what we say in Latin language, a central um, sort of mechanism for the educational progress in the world. So basically, education diplomacy is part of that circle of knowledge. And leadership and diplomacy are two interrelated notions. That doesn't mean that when we talk about diplomacy, we're excluding the part of leadership. We need some aspects of diplomacy, in this case, education diplomacy, to spread the word about Fatima Al-Fihri Open University. I am going to mention one aspect of leadership that, from my own experience, is that what I call the golden rule of leadership, which is that when you search a job, for instance, when you're looking for a new job opportunity, it is indispensable to know that companies do not search for you, you should search for them. Why I say this? Because the notion of success nowadays is modified with sort of related to the concept of failure, that if you failed, you didn't succeed. And this is incredibly wrong. And in the process of perseverance, learning languages is the most important aspect of education diplomacy, especially when you're talking about the notion of education as it is conceived and promoted around the world. We are here to, I'm basically here to spread the education about, to spread basically my experience, or to share my experience about learning languages. For instance, I started doing my studies in France a couple of years ago, and then I came to start a second university in Turkey. And I was interested to learn Turkish, Arabic, Persian, Hebrew a little bit. And I noticed that when I dared to take a second university, many new doors opened for me. It is true that education is not for everyone, in terms of, like, some students are really lazy to study because there's a lot to study. But that doesn't mean that perseverance should be obliterated as a notion in this case. We need to dare to do something. And especially for the people who are coming from developing countries, education, we would like to promote the idea from the very heart of Fatima Al-Fihri Open University, is that education is for everyone, not for someone. We are living in a world where basically private universities are dominating the social sphere of power. And there we see that only a peculiar group of people can adhere to these universities, basically. And some students who wished to join this university couldn't, because they were not part of the group of someone, they are part of the group of everyone else. So when I meet someone, this means that generally the wealthy people or the elite can join private expensive universities, which is incredibly wrong, in my opinion. So when we are making the connection of multicultural understanding, we need to dare to do something. So basically, I come from Macedonia and my native language is Macedonian and French as well. So I said that this is not the point where I should stop. I should learn other languages to be able to understand you, like people from all over the world, from other countries, to be able to basically present a new worldwide view that there are students like me everywhere who would like to get a second chance, to start another university, to find another job. So basically, the golden rule of leadership, that companies do not search for you, you should search for them, means that basically you need to travel, you need to search a lot to be able to prosper. And prosperity is part of your success journey. Failing an exam doesn't mean that your life is over. So in your educational journey as FAO ambassadors, it is very important to promote the idea that if you fail once, that doesn't mean you will fail the second time. So you should keep trying to be able to basically change the scope of your educational pathway. Even though all this talk might seem very general, my point is to not generalize the ideas, but to promote the idea that from my own experience, learning languages, I say many languages, gave me the opportunity to be someone else in a new country, and basically shape a new personality a totally different personality from the one that I used to have when I was a kid. So for instance, I suggest you and I encourage you to go in a new country where you don't know the language at all, where you don't know the culture, and start all over again from zero to build a new personality, a new life, if you have the courage and if you dare to do something different in your life. This is where I notice that progress comes when you will try to go out of your city, out of your house, out of your comfort zone, and you will launch a new pathway in your life in a totally new culture where no one knows you. So you need to work everything from scratch. And if you have the chance to do this, do it in your young age. Do not do it later. Because while you're younger, you have more energy. What is the concept of a good education diplomat? This is the power of storytelling. I mentioned at the first that storytelling is maybe relating your own experience, your own contribution to world education. So a good education diplomat will make you basically feel that you need to tell your story. And your story is unique, it's authentic. It's not a copy of someone else's story. So when you are going to travel and start to study in a new country from scratch, basically you are identifying the world educational challenges. For instance, before I end my presentation, I would like to say when I was living in France, I noticed that the education is really much better at the master and PhD level in France than bachelor's level. And while I came to Turkey, I noticed that Turkish education on bachelor level is extremely good because they have international programs where you can study in English, for instance. And today, I would like to assign one task among all of us. The title of this task is Tell Me Your Story. I would like to hear your opinion about the question, what is the secret of education diplomacy? Do you feel that during your journey as a student, you became a good education diplomat for your life, for your studies? Did you have enough time to manage what you needed to study and what you like to study? Because sometimes we are obliged to study in a program where we do not basically, where we didn't want to enroll basically. But based on university selection system, we didn't have another choice than going or joining that program, for instance. So how can we relate our passion for education, I mean, what we would like to study, what we would like to become as students, and does this make us a good education diplomat? I would like to end this talk with a beautiful saying from Eleanor Roosevelt, who says that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I would like also to mention as a last sentence that from my own experience, every educational story is authentic. We are all studying in majority of the public universities in the world a very general curriculum of studies, biology, geography, and it seems like studies become monotone. But how can we make studies to be passionate. And in my case, I could make my studies more interesting by learning foreign languages, like many foreign languages. So, what was your secret of education diplomacy? I would like to hear each one of you separately in times period of 2 minutes, like each can talk up for up to 10 minutes. But before we start, we can invite Salma once again to share her idea. Thank you for listening. Salma, are you with us? Hello? All right, Salma, can you hear me?
Hey, Christina. Salma has a problem on her microphone.
All right, she can maybe share her ideas by writing and we can read it for her. So Helen, because you started talking first, could you please share your ideas about education diplomacy?
My ideas?
Yes, and relating your own educational experience, basically.
Oh, okay. So I started my experience at FAOU in 2020 as ambassador from Brazil. And in March of this year, I became an internship. It's been a great experience because I can, meet another people from another countries in the world. And this action has a high cultural value. It's more important to get experience in another works in the future too. And the leader experience for me started at fall. It's my experience. Thanks, Christina. Christina, your mic is closed.
Hello, yes, Helen, I thank you for sharing your wonderful ideas. I mean, did you have some aspect of your educational story where you needed basically to make a new change, for instance, where you thought that this is not for me, but I had to study something differently? Like, did you have that experience?
Oh, okay. Another experience that I had in the past was as ambassador from the program in Brazil, IED, about International Youth Day. And this experience for me, it's really interesting because I could share my experience to youth people, Brazilians, about the SDGs. Specifically, I like the SDGs number 16 because it's all about peace and strong institutions and justice too. And in nowadays, I think it's more important young people to grow the protagonist working about the SDGs in the countries in the world too.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing these ideas, and I hope that this new basically experience of yours will make a positive impact on your life.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, Sultana, would you like to share your experience, please?
Sure, thanks. Okay, am I supposed to share my experience of my own educational journey or
Yes.
about the educational ambassador of this FAO?
You can combine them and you can relate both the teams to education diplomacy.
Sure, that would be great. Okay, I'm Tubashi Sultana. I'm from Bangladesh, an Asian country it is. And in our country, what you have already said, that we might be have the passion in some subject to read or study about, but for the system, educational system, we might not get the subject what we desire for, but the subject we get in the university, we have to read in that subject particularly. So in my case, I was all about culture and painting. I wanted to study about mainly painting, but for some reasons and the career security, I have studied it international relations, which I loved later by studying it, and I have done the masters in international relations as well. And after that, I grew the interest about the education, the policy of the educational policies, and so that recently I have joined as at Teach for Bangladesh, where I am directly related to the governmental school, basically in the primary level school, and I am working there to develop the educational policies. And in my why if I talk about this journey as the educational ambassador of FAO, after coming here, I have met with various nationality people, and came to know about their perspective about their education and the policies, which is the reason if I talk about in combination, that my experiences and altogether other people's experiences, knowing about them, I came to know that the educational policies and the diplomacies are not that much strong, and yet we have to work on that to rectify this and come up with new ideas. Yeah, that's it.
Indeed.
Thank
Like the educational diplomacies. I mean, the education diplomacies are still late with the progress of the world, but also with the progress of the communities. In my opinion, there is some divergence of education distribution of knowledge, right? Of educational distribution of knowledge. And yes, as you said, maybe international relations in the future will modify this aspect of status quo in education diplomacy. All right, Sarah Reese, hello.
Hi everyone. Actually, I'm very excited to share because I'm really passionate with diplomacy since I'm studying international political economy. So, education has a very, very important impact in economic growth. So, actually, I'm from Tunisia, and in Tunisia, after high school, in the last year of high school, we set for an exam, the baccalaureate exam, and we cannot choose the universities we will be in until we have some sort of score based on our grades. So I was literally obliged to join the business school. Well, it was a good choice, but I wanted to do dentistry before. But while joining the business school, I've really discovered that um, it fits me a lot and it matches with my dream of being a diplomat. So I really couldn't be a diplomat while being a dentist. So I'm really interested now in studying the aspects of education. Well, I started really with FAO to apply the SDG for quality education in Tunisia with through this channel. And to be honest, I consider that educational diplomacy is one of the most important pillars in the diplomacy worldwide, because if we do not educate people and we do not empower them through education, we cannot gain and humanity cannot upgrade. So thank you so much, Ristina, for the words said. That was really powerful and really impressing.
Thank you.
And the last thing, sorry, last thing I wanted to say is that um, believe in education because it is really effective and important. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
You're welcome, Sarah. Thank you a lot for your encouraging words. And I can definitely relate and totally relate to what you have said. If in your case, business and diplomacy helped you to follow your passion about education, then you have succeeded to realize your dream of basically saying to yourself, like, I did it. No matter what, I did it. and I was trying and keep trying, for instance. All right, Afshin, hello. Afshin, are you with us? Hello. Can you speak? Can you share your experience with us, please? So, well, Salma has shared basically that the grading system is one of the obstacles in the process of attaining our educational dreams. And in my opinion, grades shouldn't exist. Some other way of evaluation should exist. Maybe the evaluation of our progress. Grades are just numbers, basically, that are present in our school certificates, and then we're keeping them in our bookshelves and never open them again. Only when we are trying to apply for some university, when we're trying to enroll in some program, we present them, and that's it. So, in my opinion, education diplomacy is all about achieving your own dreams, what you want to be in this life, and no one can tell you that you cannot do it when you can do it. All right, we have 10 minutes more. Imane, hello. Imane? Well, Salma, eventually you can apply for medical schools in other countries where you can actually study in English, for instance. If it's still that your dream. Thank you for sharing your experience, Salma, via chat. Mariana, are you with us? Mariana? Well, I would like to share that Gabriela Dantas, who is actually one of the prominent members of the scientific community office, basically she's a member of my team, and she has been so active, and she has an excellent writing skills. Gabriela Dantas is basically graduated from psychology, and she basically that this was a very good experience for her, and she had the chance to leave her bubble and go to public university and meet people from different parts of Brazil. And she noticed that there is still inequality among the student proportion, especially regional proportion of students. She is passionate to learn about social justice and intersectionality. She noticed that education changed her life completely, and she would like now to gain further knowledge in communication. All right, Ibitoye Olukosu, are you with us? Hello.
Yes, I'm with you.
Hello.
It's Trina.
Hello.
You know, I was worried that you weren't calling people from West Africa.
No,
so I thought
like,
it was because you could not pronounce their name, but I was shocked when you pronounced my name correctly. Yes, you are actually the first person from FAOU that is not an African to pronounce my name correctly. Congratulations.
All right, that's so.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
So I'm going to share my experience on education diplomacy. I'm happy that we are having this conversation. First, I would say that we from this part of the world have been at the receiving end, in the sense that each time we try to apply to schools in the US, in the UK, or other European countries, they come up with this discrimination. They tell us to write IELTS or GRE if you are going to America.
Absolutely.
I keep wondering why they tell us to write IELTS. For instance, Nigeria is an English-speaking country. We were colonized by Britain. Ghana is also an English-speaking country. The official language is also English. The language of instruction is also English from primary school to university. So I think that aspect is creating a lot of limitations in the sense that people from low income families cannot afford to pay the British Council money to write IELTS. Some cannot even afford to pay for GRE in order to fulfill their dreams of studying abroad. So these are some of the aspects of the education diplomacy that I would be really happy if those people that have set this standard could remove, especially for those that are from the English-speaking countries. That
Indeed,
we have,
and
yes,
maybe we can add to this idea that why not one day to study in our own native languages? Like,
yes. That's also another aspect.
Yeah.
After all, there's no way we can talk about education diplomacy and we will not talk about cultural diplomacy, because education and culture, they go hand in hand. If you go to another country to study, unconsciously you learn about their culture. Yes, for instance, if I come to Turkey to study, let's say,
to study
Cook.
Turkish or Arabic, for instance, yes.
Yes. I'm going to learn. Yes, I'm going to learn their language. I'm going to learn their way of life.
Indeed.
So these are some of the things we have to look into. Yes,
Indeed.
these are
Thank
some
you
of the
very
things. So personally, I'm looking for an
Hopefully.
opportunity to study abroad, because currently, because of the government policy in Nigeria, our school system, especially the public universities, are underfunded. So they are struggling to catch up with what is obtainable in the Western countries. So I'm looking forward to going to, as part of education diplomacy adventure, I'm looking forward to studying abroad in order to learn from some of the best teachers there, and also to learn their new technologies, the AIs that have been released, so that I can transfer the knowledge back to my society and see how we can use it to develop my country. That's my own contribution.
Thank you very much, Vitor. Indeed, it's an impressive overview of what you have just said. Indeed, GRE SAT tests are a big obstacle in the process of achieving our educational dreams. I have never attended a GRE or an SAT test. Indeed, I passed the baccalaureate exam of my high school, and that was sufficient to adhere foreign universities in France and Turkey. Indeed, so therefore, I hope you will one day, Ibitoy, realize the educational dream you're still waiting for or looking for. Thank you very much once again. Akorfa, are you with us? Akorfa?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yes. Thanks for having me. So concerning education, my personal experience with education. So I would say that, so I studied, you also said you like studying like foreign languages. I studied Mandarin Chinese
Wow.
in at the
Congratulations.
university. Thank you. For my undergraduate studies, I did Mandarin Chinese and sociology and geography at the University of Ghana. And because of the course of study, I had the opportunity to travel to China for a year.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
to study, yes, for an language program 1 year again. So I had the Chinese foreign studying outside that experience, and comparing it to my countries and teaching and learning, I would say that I really enjoyed the learning outside, interacting with new people from all over, different people, Kenyans, Nigerians, everybody all in China, all learning their language. And it was an amazing experience with Chinese lecturers.
Congratulations, Akorfa. Thank you very much for sharing out your experience, and I hope one day you are going to learn other languages that you would like to. I'm wondering, shall we start a second session for discussion, because this one is going to end, or shall we stop here?
let's start the second session.
Okay. Okay, so you guys use the same link. So I'm going to end this session now. All right, use the same link to connect once again. Thank you.